Hello and welcome to the Alliance Pro Wrestling Network special interview. Joining me today is someone who's been here before, but I'm very excited and very proud to be introducing him as the Impact Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion this time around. Very happy to welcome back to the show, the walking weapon, Josh Alexander. Josh, welcome back to the show, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. As always, it's good to talk about wrestling, especially with another Canadian Impact Wrestling fan.
Yep. Yeah, glad we waited a long time. I'm glad we're finally getting it done. So let's get right into it. Let's get right into it. June 19th, Slammiversary, 20th anniversary of Impact Wrestling. You are defending the Impact Wrestling World title against Eric Young. Your thoughts on Eric Young and what can we expect in that match?
I have a tremendous amount of respect for Eric Young. From the moment I started training in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada in 2005, all I heard about was the legends of Showtime Eric Young and how amazing he was and how he was the king of the independent scene there before he had signed with TNA Impact Wrestling. And, over the course of my career in Ontario wrestling, I think now I'm regarded kind of in the same vein as one of the greatest of all time in that indie scene. And, we're having a first time ever matchup. We took two different paths to get here. He's obviously had a long story career over the first 20 years here in Impact Wrestling. I don't think there's anyone more fitting on the roster, with the exception of maybe Chris Sabin, to really embody that first 20 years of anybody currently active on our roster than Eric Young is. And, at Slammiversary, we're going to have the guy that really encapsulates that first 20 years, the past of Impact Wrestling, against somebody who encapsulates the present of Impact Wrestling and me. And we're going to find out who's going to carry the torch, the championship, and the face of the company title into the future.
What kind of a war can the fans expect in that match? That's going to be an absolute war.
Yeah, well, like Eric Young, I call him the Swiss Army knife of pro wrestling, man. He's made you laugh, he's made you cry, he's made you scared over the years, and anybody he's put in the ring with, he always delivers. And I think he's supremely underrated for that. So I'm excited. I think he has a big chip on his shoulder to show that like he still has it. He can still be just as successful as he's been these first 20 years in Impact Wrestling. He's done everything there is to do here, won every championship, and I don't think he's done wanting to be a world champion. And I'm excited for the challenge. I'm excited because I need matches like that. I need people like that that are hungry and going to challenge me to take things a step further and get better myself, because now, as world champion, the only goal I have next is to go down in the history books beside the names that have held that championship that inspired me to be a pro wrestler. The guys like AJ Styles, Kurt Angle, Samoa Joe, and so on.
Well, with this Eric Young, he's violent by design. There's also Joe Doering and Cody Deaner, and they're most likely going to be at ringside. So how do you plan on dealing with them? Because they are most likely going to interfere at some point during the match.
I cannot really plan for that because it's so unpredictable. But yes, you are right. It is going to be 3 against 1. Undoubtedly, in some capacity at Slammiversary, the one thing I can count on is I don't think they're stupid enough to do anything in front of the referee, because that championship is the ultimate goal, and a DQ, that would not be a sound way to get that championship off me, So, like I said, I want to go down in the history books, and if I'm going to do that, I have to defend the championship against any and all, and Violent by Design is clearly next in line. It's just something I'm going to have to deal with. And my heart has carried me pretty far in these matches, regardless of the adversary or adversaries. So, I just got to hope that when that pressure gets to the biggest and hottest and whatever, I can rise to the occasion and overcome it.
All right. So not to look past Eric Young, but should you be victorious, who would you say would be next in line for a title shot? Would it be Steve Macklin? Would it be Chris Sabin? Would it be PCO? Who do you think would be next in line for a title shot?
I definitely think Macklin has a lot of momentum. He's been building over the last year. I don't know who, in the contendership is next in line. I know that there's one name out there on the roster that I have a ton of respect for what he's capable of in the ring, and I think we can make magic at any point in time. And I've never had a singles match with him, and that's Eddie Edwards. So
okay. Also, Sami Callihan's back as well. You've had some classic wars with him as well. So he's a potentially another potential challenger for you right there. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You were going to say something.
No. I was just saying Sami Callihan seems to have his hands full with Moose trying to make a statement, after having his foot broken. So, whenever he's ready, I'm willing to give a shot to anybody, because I can't ignore any challenger.
All right. So being a world champion, you're Impact Wrestling World Champion now. There's glory, but there's also pressure. Do you feel the pressure of being a world champion? And if you do, how are you dealing with the pressure?
I absolutely feel the pressure.
Okay.
Being called the face of Impact Wrestling, the figurehead of this company, the world champion, the person that just represents the company first and foremost over everybody else. It's pressure to always deliver, but that's something that like I enjoy. I enjoy the pressure. I enjoy the adrenaline rush you get from like having to rise to the occasion. But the one thing I take seriously more than anything is like me representing this brand, this locker room, because I think I love this locker room. I love the crew. I love everybody here. And I think that we are, underrated or, overlooked from time to time. And I think we all have a chip on our shoulder. We're like that little engine that could, trying to prove that we are the collection of some of the best wrestling in the world. And we're going to all do that together.
You say you guys are the little engine that could. How do you think Impact Wrestling could compete with like an AEW or another top promotion? I mean, I know AEW, they got loads of money they're throwing out, but how do you think Impact Wrestling could compete with like an AEW?
I mean, it's not a money thing, and it's definitely not a talent thing. I think our locker room can stand up against any locker room of any company in the world,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the one thing that has benefited Impact Wrestling, well, at least in the early years that benefited them, was that, they were very patient. They were willing to take risks and innovate, which is something that happened with like initially with like Ultimate X and the X division altogether and the Knockouts division. That was something that set Impact Wrestling apart in the early years and still sets us apart to this day, because I think our X division and our Knockouts division is unlike anything you get in any other company. But the one thing I will say is about, you can't overlook the elephant in the room, that there has been a dark age in Impact Wrestling. They ascended to incredible heights and there was a low period in the middle there. But 5 years ago, they changed management. Scott D'Amore and some other people came into the management. And I think they looked at the past of Impact Wrestling and they wanted to go back to the roots of what, how this company built from 2002 up to 2011 in the start. And that is trusting and building homegrown talent, people like myself and Asos and Chris Bay and Tasha Steeles and so on and so forth. That's in the same vein as in 2002 when you had unknown names like AJ Styles, Low Key, all these other names, and they built their own stars, and that's what we've been investing in here. And it's just playing the long game rather than trying to have the immediacy of like quick pops and ratings.
Absolutely. Well, I personally prefer Impact Wrestling. Love Impact Wrestling. You guys are doing a great job. Show after show after show, you guys deliver all the time, and it's just a fantastic promotion right now, my opinion, of course. So let's go back last month. I want to talk to you about this match. You went one-on-one with New Japan Pro Wrestling superstar Tomohiro Ishii. First question, how hard does Ishii actually hit? Second question, your thoughts on that match, and did you gain any new respect for Ishii after that match?
Well, I don't think it's possible for me to gain any more respect for Ishii. He's been one of my favorite wrestlers for a long time. That was like, there's not many matches on my bucket list that I'm like, that's a dream match I want to have, but that was definitely one of them. And I'm so privileged that I was able to do it, while, Ishii was still active and very competitive, and he hits very hard. As advertised, as expected. And it was just an honor to be able to step in the ring with him and compete and put on a match like that. I would love to do it again.
Yeah, do you think that match was important to you in terms of people looking at you as one of the best in the world?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
No, sorry. No, every single main event match, every single title defense I have, I treat it the same way. Like, I'm trying to grow my own personal like brand or whatever, but I'm also trying to grow the Impact brand. And that's just me going out and giving the ultimate effort I can every single time, regardless of who I'm in the ring with. And then they put me in the ring with like an absolute killer, a legend in this business like Ishii. I got to take it a step further and show that, I can compete blow for blow with that guy and keep going. And like, we had a 24+ minute match together. I think it's, whether people want to admit it or not, or talk about it or not, whether they've seen it or not, that's one of the best matches that's going to happen in this company for a very long time, I think. And I'm very proud of that match.
It was absolutely fantastic. I could watch that match over and over again and never get tired of it. Fantastic match. Do you think we could see a New Japan Pro Wrestling versus Impact Wrestling show in the future?
I would not say it's not on the table.
Okay.
I don't know. I haven't heard anything, but you know, that door swings both ways. Thankfully for us in New Japan, we have some guys going over there and guys coming in and out of our company. So I wouldn't rule it out ever.
How do you feel you rank against other promotions champions?
I mean, I would put myself in the same breath as all of them, regardless of who they are.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. There you go.
I mean, if we want to like have an ultimate champion and we can all have a match, you know, together one time, like I'm game whenever.
Okay, so this next question is going to lead to some other questions, but your thoughts on Asos and joining the Bullet Club?
I think it's a good thing for Ace. I think Ace is, you know, he's a young, hungry talent, and you know, him going over to Japan and getting the experience there is like, it's going to be paramount for his career. We've seen that formula work for so many people over the last few years, and he's definitely like, his star is growing, and along with his star growing, I think Impact Wrestling is going to get more eyes on it. It benefits everybody.
Well, he had a fantastic Best of the Super Juniors tournament. Granted, he lost the last 3 matches, which was unfortunate. But the New Japan Pro Wrestling G1 Climax is coming up. It's right around the corner. Could we see Josh Alexander representing Impact Wrestling in the G1 Climax this year?
I mean, I certainly wouldn't mind going to Japan for the first time. I made no, it's no secret that I've never been to Japan, and I think it's definitely the one thing on my bucket list that I can't let not happen before I hang my boots up. So, regardless of whether it happens this year at the G1 or some other time somewhere else, it doesn't matter. When I can get over to Japan, I will get over to Japan, because especially now as Impact Champion, if I do retain against Eric Young, I want to defend that championship everywhere against the best in the world, because I think, you know, just sending me to these other promotions, putting me up against the best of the best, I'm a bumper sticker for Impact Wrestling, and I'm going to show that, you know, not just me, I'm going to represent our locker room so we can compete with anybody.
Now back to Ace Austin for a second. Say Ace Austin is victorious at Ultimate X and retains the X Division Championship, and he approaches you and wants to cash in option C. I'm sure that's something you would welcome.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
and he's never beaten me, so I have a pretty
Okay.
good record against Ace Austin. So I don't know if that'd be a smart play for him, but like I said, welcome all competition. If he wants to do it, you know, I went through that same formula and path to get to the World Championship myself, so I got to respect it.
Well, with him in the Bullet Club, is there a New Japan Pro Wrestling faction that you could see yourself fitting in?
I seem to be more a chaos guy than anything
Okay.
else, I think.
I was thinking Suzuki-gun, but Chaos, you would fit nicely with Chaos as well.
Mhm.
Yeah. So MLW has its world champion scheduled to defend a title around the world. Is that something you'd like to see Impact? I think you might have touched upon it a little earlier. Is that something you'd like to see Impact Wrestling do? Send you like to the UK, to Mexico? I know you have a match coming up in Canada against Aiden Prince for the Impact Wrestling World title. But is that something you would like to do, to travel around the world to defend the title?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I put an Impact Wrestling bumper sticker on my back and just send me on a trip, man. I'll go everywhere, because I think the way that I'm going to get eyes both on me and on the company is showing that the things I can do in a ring, because I think that's what sets me apart from a lot of other people. So, you know, if I can do it around the world and get more eyes on me and this company at the same time, defending that championship, it's better for everybody.
Speaking of that Aiden Prince match, is that going to be taped for Impact Wrestling or BTI by any chance? Or
I mean, I don't know.
okay,
Maybe.
hopefully, keep my fingers crossed. Keep my fingers crossed. Again, Aiden Prince, latest Canadian talent to join the Impact Wrestling roster. Who do you think should be the next Canadian talent? Or do you have anybody in mind that from Canada? I'm thinking Kobe Durst or Lexi Nicole, but who do you think would be a good fit in Impact Wrestling from Canada?
I think I like, even before Aiden Prince got signed, no offense to him, I think Judas Icarus is the most talented Canadian pro wrestler right now, bar none. I don't even think it's that close. I've been in the ring with him, and he was only maybe a year and a half, 2 years into his wrestling career, and the maturity and the skill that guy possesses and has, if he can carry that forward and keep progressing and getting better, I don't think there's going to be many better than him in the world.
What about TDT as a tag team? I think you mentioned them in a past interview with, but do you think they would be a good fit in Impact Wrestling?
Yeah, as far as tag teams go, like they're the first name that comes up on the Canadian indie scene that I think is very well established, knows how to knows their own like shtick and how to do things, and if they carry forward into something like Impact Wrestling, I think they'd have nothing but success.
And there are a lot of top free agents out there right now. Johnny Gargano, Cesaro, Stu Grayson is now a free agent. Is there somebody that you would like Impact Wrestling to bring in as a challenger to your Impact Wrestling World title? You versus Gargano would be absolutely fantastic. But is there somebody that you're thinking, hey, I would like Impact Wrestling to bring in?
Yeah, I mean, the first one that pops to my mind is the first time ever match up with Cesaro. I'd love to get in the ring with someone like him.
So if he swung you around, and do you think you'd be able to take that?
Yeah, I've been knocked loopy before. I don't know if I've been swung dizzy though. So yeah, well, I'm willing to try.
All right. Okay. So now that you're the Impact Wrestling World Champion, you've been with Impact Wrestling for a number of years. Are people starting to recognize you in public now?
Oh yeah, it happens
Okay.
from time to time. Usually on airplanes and in airports and stuff like that. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Are you comfortable with that? You're comfortable with the fame that comes with
Yeah,
being the world champion?
I just want to give people the time. You know, I don't want to like. You've heard people complain or tweet about how like they don't want to be bothered and all this stuff, and I think that just comes with the territory of being a champion, representing a company, and like growing your own star. Like to give people, 30 seconds or 2 minutes of my time to have a quick conversation with them. I've had people come up to me and they're absolutely like shaking with anxiety, just wanting to say hello to me. And I have to be like, no, man, calm down. Let's have a talk. Like, it's not a big deal. You know what I mean? Because my relationship with Impact Wrestling started with me sitting on the couch as a 15-year-old kid ordering that first pay-per-view, man. Like I'm a fan just like everybody else at the end of the day. Just because I do this doesn't change that. And yeah, I welcome it.
So you're saying being that 15-year-old kid watching Impact Wrestling for the first time, it must be an absolutely phenomenal feeling, no pun intended towards AJ Styles, but it must be a phenomenal feeling that you are main eventing their 20th anniversary show.
It's completely unbelievable. Like I have no other word to describe it. I never thought any of this possible. I never thought I could be a wrestler. I think I've told you that before. At least I've said it in interviews plenty of times.
Yeah.
And for things like just setting new goals every time I do something bigger and bigger and progressing, it's built all the way to where I am now and where I'm planning to go in the future. It's unreal.
So is there any talk of Impact Wrestling returning to Canada? I know you have a lot of shows coming up in the States, specifically St. Clair College here in Windsor, Ontario. I'm dying for you guys to come back. Is there any talk at all that you've heard that maybe you guys are coming back?
I was just talking to Gail Kim about how we need to get back to Canada. We're all very hopeful. Everybody from the top down, I've heard we want to go to Canada. I think there's just a lot of red tape with the restrictions that are still in place at the Canadian border for, production trucks and all this other stuff crossing the border, notwithstanding just, whatever else. So I just think it's just a bureaucratic thing. And when those restrictions lessen, I think we're all chomping at the bit to come back to Canada because those crowds in both Windsor and Toronto are two of the best ones we've been in front of.
Well, I hope it happens in the very near future. So here's the last question. It's a fun question. I'm going to end it with this. At Slammiversary 40, the 40th anniversary of Impact Wrestling, will the Impact Wrestling Tag Team Champions be Josh and Jet Alexander?
Oh, no, absolutely not. 20 more years? You think the way I wrestle, I got 20 more years of active competition? I mean, no. I think you will see Impact World Champion Jet Alexander with, his dad on commentary or something like that. I will definitely be a part of the company in some fashion, but, I'm going to pass that torch off to Jet in the next 15 years for sure.
Okay. Has he made any more phone calls to Jake something, or is that just a one-time thing?
that was a one-time thing, but yeah, he interacts with everybody, and his obsession, it blows my mind every day, because at his age, at 4 years old, the knowledge he has in his mind already about pro wrestling is unlike anything I've ever seen.
All right, man. Well, Josh, it's been an absolute pleasure having you back. I hope we could do this again real soon. Good luck on June 19th against Eric Young. I think you're going to be victorious. I'm picking you to win that match. But good luck. Watch it back. Cody Deaner, Joe Doering. But again, wish nothing but the best of luck in the future. And I hope you have that belt for a very, very long time.
Thank you, Louis. Anytime.
All right. Take care, buddy. Bye-bye.